Hello and welcome back to the Spelling for Me classroom with me, Mr. Marr. Today we're going to be taking a look at a new spelling strategy. The strategy we'll be looking at is called Use Letter Strings. Our Walt for this lesson is to use the letter string spelling strategy to learn how to spell some unknown words. A long time ago when I was in school, we used to get a spelling list to learn off by heart every week. Our teacher would give us the words on a Monday, and we would have the dreaded spelling test on a Friday. Sometimes I would look at the list of words and not even understand what they meant. But there was always something that I noticed. The words usually had the same string of letters in them. That made it handy to learn how to spell the words, because I quickly figured out that if I just remember the important string of letters for the week, I could figure out most of the other spellings without too much learning off by heart. Today, we're going to be using something like this. But don't worry, we're not going to be learning anything off by heart. Instead, we're going to use what spellings we already know to help us remember new ones. But first, we need to take a look at what a letter string is. A letter string is a set of letters that are often found hanging out with each other in words. Usually they're found at the end of a word, but they can appear anywhere in the word. There are lots of these in the English language, and you probably already know some of them, like the letter string AN. Think of all the words that have this letter string somewhere in them. But how is this going to help me spell new words? Well, the great thing about letter strings is that they pop up again and again in lots of spelling words. That means once you recognize a letter string in one word, it's nearly guaranteed that you'll already know how to spell some other words with the same letter string. Take a look at this letter string in the spelling word science. I already know how to spell some other words that have the same letter string in it. Now, I can link the new word science and its IEN letter string to words I already know how to spell, like alien. So, how do we use this spelling strategy? Well, let's take a look at the steps we take to use the letter strings strategy with our spelling words. The first thing we need is a spelling word. Let's start off easy and take the word saw. The first thing we're going to do is look closely at our spelling word to see if we recognize any letter strings in there. It might be helpful to highlight the letter string when you find it, like this. Next, we want to think of some words we already know how to spell that use the same letter string. By linking our spelling words to words we already know how to spell, it'll make it a lot easier for us to remember the spelling in the future. Once we have a few words with the same letter string, we want to make a sentence that uses some of them and our spelling word. You can see that I came up with the sentence, I saw the baby crawl. As always, it's a good idea to draw a picture to go with your sentence. This helps your brain by giving it another way of remembering a tricky spelling word. So here's my picture of me seeing the baby crawl. Now, not every word has easy to find letter strings in them, and sometimes you might find it hard to think of words with the same letter string. But if that happens, don't forget, you have lots of other spelling strategies to use if this one doesn't work. Let's try another word together. The spelling word is quack. It's a bit of a tricky spelling word. So first step, we want to look closely at the letters in our spelling word to see if we can recognize any letter strings. Can you see any letter strings in this word? Pause the video and see if you can find one. Well, here's the one that I spotted. A-C-K. I've definitely seen that in other words before. The next step is to think of other words that use the same letter string somewhere in their spelling. Remember, it doesn't have to be at the end of the spelling. It can be anywhere. Pause the video and see if you can think of at least 3 other words that use the same letter string, A, C, K, somewhere in their spelling. So here's what I went for. Jack, snack, and attack. All of those words have the letter string A-C-K in them. The final step is to write a sentence using some of these words and our spelling word. Oh, and of course, to draw a picture to go with it. Pause the video, write your sentence, and draw a picture to go with it. What did you come up with? I went with the duck said quack when Jack gave it a snack. Just to be sure that I remember this sentence, I'm also going to draw a picture to go along with it. So here's my picture. There is Jack, and he's giving the duck a snack. And of course, the duck is saying quack. Pause the video and show someone near you your sentence and your picture. Now that you've got the hang of how to use this spelling strategy, it's time to try using letter strings all by yourself. I'm going to show you a spelling word, and I'll remind you of the steps needed. And I want you to try to use the letter string strategy to remember how to spell these tricky words. Are you ready for your first one? Okay, here we go. So the word that you are going to try and spell is friend. Now, remember the steps. Find a letter string in the spelling word. Then try to think of other words that have the same letter string somewhere in them. Finally, write a sentence using your spelling word and draw a picture to go with it to help your brain remember. Pause the video and give that a try now. How did you get on? Did you find a letter string that you recognized? Here's what I went for. I found the letter string E-N-D. I thought of the words spend, send, and gender that use the same letter string. Notice that the letter string doesn't always have to come at the end of the new words. I also have my sentence. My friend used to spend a lot of money on balloons. And my picture to help me remember it in another way too. Let's try another one. Your next word is captain. So again, follow the steps and see if you can use the letter string strategy for the word captain. Pause the video and give it a try. Well, how did you get on? Here's what I went for. I found the letter string C-A-P, and I thought of the words cape, escape, and kneecap that also use this letter string. The sentence I came up with was the team captain fell over and hurt his kneecap. And here's the picture I drew as an extra help to remember. Did you find the same letter string? Because there were more than one in there. If you found a different one, that's great. That means that you're really working hard on using this strategy. Let's try one last one. The word plastic. Can you pause the video and use the letter string strategy to help you spell the tricky word plastic? Pause the video and give it a try. Well, here's what I found. I recognized the letter string of A-S-T. I thought of these words that use the same letter string. Castle, pasta, and east. The sentence I made was the castle in the east was made of plastic. And here is my little picture to help me remember that sentence. So that's how we use the spelling strategy of letter strings. Remember that letter strings are little sets of letters that often hang out together in words. First, we find a letter string in our spelling word. Then we think of some other words that use the same letter string. Finally, we create a sentence to help us remember the spelling word and draw a picture to go with it. When you're ready, you can try the practice activities in your Spelling for Me workbook. Once you've mastered that, you're ready to use this strategy with your personalised spellings every week. When you do, it will look something like this. So our vault for today's lesson was to use the letter string strategy to learn how to spell unknown words. You are ready to try that out now in your Spelling for Me workbooks. That's all we have time for today. Until next time, take care.